Today I'm upgrading some Dollar General home decor using 3 different transfer methods. Today's playlist is hosted by 6 Kids and a Glue Gun, Rebecca Virginia DIY, and Lady Red Crafting. Their channels are listed in the description box below along with the playlist. I got this sign at Dollar General last year on clearance, and I'm going to be covering up the center so that I can paint the frame, and I'm using Fusion Paint in Wellington. Now I'm going to remove the paper and paint the center. I want to use the reindeer from this IOD Holly Glen transfer set. My goal was to try and paint the sign to match the transfer. I mixed up several different shades of chalk paint until I got the shade I was looking for. While the shade of paint does match pretty well, I do end up changing that a little bit later. Now I'm going to apply the transfer by taping one end of it. I did have to trim a little bit off of the bottom to make it fit. And once I had it in place, I removed that backing and used the transfer tool to apply the transfer. Once the transfer had been applied, I did rub over it with a little bit of fine grit sandpaper just to kind of burnish it into the sign and to make it look a little bit more aged. And this is when I decided the background color was too dark. So I used some more Fusion paint. I can't remember the color, but it's kind of an off-white color. And I used that on the sides, and I liked that much better. And as you can see, when I do get the paint on the transfer, I'm just using a wet wipe to kind of wipe it back, and it looks like it had always been painted this color. I did use a rubber stamp that said Merry Christmas, and then this handsome fellow was complete. This little bird is also from Dollar General clearance section, and I'm going to be painting it with Waverly White chalk paint, and then I'm going to be using some decoupage paper. Once I decide exactly what I want showing on my bird, I cut out that section of the decoupage paper, and that way I can use the rest of it later. I'm going to use Mod Podge to adhere the decoupage paper, and this worked out really well. Usually I use the iron-on method, but I decided I would try it this way. Once it had dried, I used my finger sander to sand off the excess paper. This gives it a nice clean edge. Now I'm going back with a brown ink pad, and I'm just going to be using that along the edges of the bird. This gives it a little bit of definition. I really love the way she turned out. This is a tray I also got at Dollar General on clearance. I'm going to start by removing the handles. Next, I'm going to be painting the entire sign with Waverly white chalk paint. Now that the paint is dry, I'm going to reattach those handles. I plan to use this tray on my coffee bar, so I wanted to use this hot cocoa transfer by IOD. I'm just using a part of it. I think I can still use some of the other parts on other DIYs at some point. So I'm cutting off the part that I don't need, and I'm cutting it so that it will fit onto the tray. Use my transfer tool to rub the transfer down, and then I will burnish it with the backing. Now you can see here there are two grooves in the tray, so I'm just going to use my transfer tool and just kind of press them down into that groove, and that works just fine. I don't need to cut anything. It doesn't make a mess. It just looks like it's meant to be there. I did seal the top of all my transfers with Big Top by DIY. And here's a look back at all of our Dollar General home decor DIYs from today. Quite an upgrade, I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and be sure and check out our hosts and the playlist in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to share the chic. Bye now.